Hey guys, what's up? Sermo11 here with part 3 of my Beyblade Burst Evolution review. Last time I reviewed up until episode 36, which is the big reveal of Red Eye's identity. This episode will definitely have more opinions since most of my notes for the last few months have been on these last few episodes. So now you know where we're at, so let's jump right in. So Shu gets his own episode and becomes one with his Beyblade. His new Beyblade can spin right or left and can be any type of Beyblade, so defense, attack, balance, etc. It really seems like your Beyblade needs to spin to the left for it to be powerful. If you go back to the different Beyblade series, I always feel like the special Beyblade that the villain usually has is one that spins to the left. So Free comes back to BC Soul. He left the Raging Bulls after losing to Louie, which was a battle that Trad recorded and sent to BC Soul. So he's still kind of working, kind of helping out BC Soul. And Sasha is upset over Free's return. And I didn't really like this plot line. I believe this goes on for an episode. He left the team and he came back. Who cares? Who would be upset that a team member left and came back? I don't think they realize what is actually going on in this situation. They relied on Free a lot, and sometimes he was the only one doing well on the team. So who would want to be on a team of losers? I'm pretty sure Free left to motivate the team, and he could have just been annoyed with him being relied on too much. But a lot of this is implied in the earlier episodes of Beyblade Burst. I don't think anything is said for definite, but you can go back and watch the earlier episodes and it looks like Free doesn't like seeing his team lose. I wish Free stayed the strongest in the show. I just like that. I just like having this set character. This is the strongest character in the show, but Free is not the strongest character in the show. And by the end of Beyblade Burst Evolution, people are kind of starting to catch up to him. I know someone had said that Vault and Rontaro losing is like a real sport in which you don't win all the time, and I guess the same logic applies here. Free's not going to win all the time. Even the best players don't always win, and you're also on a team, so you could still be doing well, but if the players behind you aren't doing well, then you all lose overall. So an international tournament is starting, and this is going to be an individual tournament, so you know this is the important one this season. The team tournament was not that important. The win at the end of the team tournament or the world tournament didn't really feel that big. This is the big tournament of the season. So Vault, Silas, Kuza, Joshua, Free, Xander, Renwu-san, Louie, Boa, and Shu are invited to this tournament. Rontaro is not invited. And this isn't a big deal, but when you think about it, at the beginning of the season, his character was hyped up to be much stronger. He was hyped up, and then he was left behind as the show went on. I don't get it. This happened in Season 1 too. Wakia and Daigo don't really do much either this season. And two more characters are invited, one being Kurt, who was previously #1 in the world, but I believe he disappeared or something or stepped down. And Norman was invited, who is Goldeye from the Snake Pit. Kurt runs an underground blading ring where they steal Beyblades from those that they defeat. Rontaro ends up facing Kurt, and Vault saves Rontaro's Beyblade from being stolen. One thing that I did want to say about the international tournament is that it's just a way to get as many dream fights as possible in the show. The writers probably realized they had too many characters that needed to shine, so they made a tournament where they could all fight each other. So the characters earn points in this tournament, and the ones with the most points, or the ones that win the most matches, advance on within the tournament. They're split up into two different blocks, Block A and Block B, so you have about 5 or 6 characters on Block A, and you have 5 or 6 characters on Block B, and then these characters fight each other over and over until someone has enough wins to move on. While this is cool, I just wish a standard tournament happened. People that have no chance of winning are still in this tournament because other characters need to earn points, so they need people to defeat. First up are Vault and Kurt. Since this is the first match and Kurt was just introduced, Vault loses the match. Kurt also does this cool thing before he Beyblades where he flicks his earring. It's a really awesome thing. It's very small, but it's awesome. You know, it's just a really minor thing, but just, I like the attention to detail. Now, Boa. Boa is interesting in that he looks like a background character, and he's kind of going up in the ranks in the background of the show. He's like Shu, but worse. And I mean that as a compliment, even though it sounds bad. But Boa was just wasted potential, just like Renwu-san. Boa was wasted even more because he was hyped up. We see Boa quite a few times in the show leading up to the tournament, and they even changed his character design to make him stand out more. Seriously, go back to Boa's first character design. They made him more unique, but he still looks generic, and sadly that's where they kept him. He loses to Shu in the tournament. I'm not going to go through all the matches. There's a lot of them. Many of them are throwaway fights as well. And it's interesting seeing Shu defeat Kurt. One thing that I wondered about this tournament was who's going to be important in the end. I was thinking that the top 4 would be Shu, Vault, Free, and Louis, but where would Kurt fit into this? What if Boa did well? Where would Boa fit into this? And this is something that's just fun to think about as the tournament's going on. They put Kurt in an interesting position because there's so many characters, there's so many important characters here, and it hurts his chances of shining being a new character. Are they going to let Kurt win? Are they going to let him be in the top? So, Boa loses again. Just wanted to mention that. And Vault gets into this weird situation where he can use Valtryek in 2 different ways, one with a chip and one without, and the issue is that he can't use his spring launches when he has the chip on his Beyblade, but I believe the Beyblade's more powerful. And then Boa loses again. So then Boa finally wins a match, but it's against Kuza. So does it really count? Shu and Vault face off, and Vault actually wins the first round, which is interesting, but then Shu takes the win overall. Next, moving on to episode 46. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes in Beyblade Burst overall. Chris shows Vault something and someone is training. And at first I thought it would be Louis. Then I thought it would be Boa. But no, it was Free. That's right. Chris wanted to show Vault that Free is actually training, and it looked like he was in the Grand Canyon, but who really knows, is not really that important. We actually see Free training for once, and this was super motivating to me. He's pulling boulders and lifting them, we see steam coming off of his body, and Free is getting ready for his rematch with Louis. This is pretty awesome. We see Vault come down there and do the same thing. I think there are little hints being put into the show showing that Vault is catching up to Free, like back when Free was leaving the team and him and Vault faced off once and they tied. Free fights Louis and shows off a new mode that he has. Think about King from Beyblade Metal Fury. Free's body is steaming and his veins pop up and he looks very angry. I like that this form isn't too flashy. I feel like it fits with Free's character. Free beats Louis. At some point the boost launches return, and I believe Louis started their return. And if that's wrong, please correct me. Louis uses his Nightmare boost, which I still don't understand, against Free. Shu beats Norman and destroys Norman's Beyblade because he's evil? I don't know what Shu is really doing this season, and I think that's kind of important. They just did something with his character. It's like he's evil, but he's not. Vault beats Boa, and Boa is on some Jenga stuff where he's about to be done with Beyblade after this loss. But Vault stops him, and they end up becoming friends. Moving on to episode 48, and I want to tell you guys I'm only saying the episode numbers if something really important happens in them. So if you've already seen the show, you can look up these episode numbers and see these episodes that I really enjoy. Kuza gets into quite the situation in episode 48. Shu, Louis, and Free are already moving on to the finals, the semifinals in the tournament. And Vault needs to be in the finals. He's the main character. But for Vault to be in the finals, Kuza has to beat Kurt, and then Vault needs to beat Kurt next. Now, Kuza was one of the characters that kind of got thrown away a little bit ago in the season. His matches no longer matter, and I thought it was interesting for them to bring this character back and put them in a situation where they have to win. Kuza has to win in this situation in the plot. So Kuza ends up defeating Kurt. He beats Kurt, and it's a good match. But I feel bad for him since he's a weaker blader now. He's a weaker blader at this point in the story. But they gave him more development. They had him switch it up, do some new moves against Kurt, and he wins. It was great. So then Vault beats Kurt, and this guy loses twice in a row. That's bad. And that's why I feel like Kurt's character was introduced at the wrong time in the story. He gets introduced in a conflict that's already going on, and he doesn't have a place in this conflict. Boa decides to leave the Snake Pit and tells Vault that Ashton is the leader of the Snake Pit, and that he's trying to create the ultimate Bay, which is Shu's Bay. And I don't really like this plotline because it doesn't really seem that evil, and it isn't really portrayed in that much of an evil way. I also wanted to mention that I did not know that Ashton was the leader of the Snake Pit earlier in the season. The characters, I believe that, they have the same voice, but I actually didn't notice it, so I don't know, that's on me. Maybe that just shows how great the show is, how great the writing and the voice actors, I'll just say that instead of embarrassing myself. So the semifinals are finally here. I really didn't know how these matchups were going to go. I thought Shu and Louie would lose at this point in the tournament, leaving Vault to fight Free. Shu gets more character development during the later half of the show, but Free was there from the beginning, leading me to believe that he was the main rival for Vault to defeat this season. That's not the case. Shu fights Louie, and Vault is going to fight Free. At some point, Vault also brings back his boost launch. I like that the boost launches have become this huge power-up that can only be used when something serious is going on. Vault uses his boost launch at the beginning of the season and at the end of this season. I would love to see the characters use the boost launches all the time because they're cool to watch, and they would really up the stakes considering Silas was surprised by Vault's boost launch. So Shu beats Louie, which is kind of surprising only because Louie seems like such a big deal in the show. I know he was a big deal in Season 1, but he's still a big deal in Season 2. Shu destroys Louie's Beyblade 2, Vault fights Free, and this is what I was here for. The interesting thing about Vault and Free's match was that at this point, I think Free still would have won the match. But Free ends up getting injured, and he's just going crazy because of his new mode and how much pressure he's putting on his body. So Chris ends up interrupting the match, and Free ends up forfeiting the match. And I like that the only way for Vault to win against Free was for Free to give up. The only one that can beat Free is Free and Louie. It doesn't make Vault super strong, and it shows that Free is still a top contender within the Beyblade world. Now, the final match is set. Vault versus Shu. All the characters from Season 1 have made it, or they are watching from home. This match was fun, and it mirrors their fight from Season 1, with them having many rounds without a winner. But this match is also an example of my problem with Vault's character development. I realize he's gotten stronger, but he's on Shu's level now. Shu has been getting major character development and ends up losing to Vault. It just doesn't feel right. Shu returns back to normal after this loss. The characters reflect and the season ends. Well, that would have been the ending to the season, but I don't know if Disney made an error or I somehow did not see the last half of the episode. But all the characters eat together, and then we get a little time skip. Shu is recovering back in Japan. He's running now, and he meets a younger blader inspired by him, and Vault is now fighting a match as the world champion. Now, I'm going to get into a few topics before ending the video off. First of all, let's talk about how Vault won this match with Shu. I want you to go back to the episode and listen to the end of this fight. Vault says 3 special moves, and they didn't activate until the last one. He stacked 3 special moves on top of each other, so of course he's going to beat Shu doing this. The fact that they even made it to 18 matches was a little bit weird. As I said, the match mirrors their fight from Season 1, but it also mirrors Vault's fight with Louis because their arms glowed in that fight, and Vault and Shu's arms glow in that one too. I feel like that's just something they do for the finale. I'm not sure why, but I imagine we'll see it in Beyblade Burst Turbo as well. I think the ending of Season 2 does not work well as the ending for Season 1. Shu being the final boss for the season doesn't work. Shu went to America, lost to Louis, and then he went to the Snake Pit. He was not in the World Tournament at all, and Shu only comes back into the story after losing to Louis, which is fine, but Free was a better fit for the final boss of the season. Think about it. He's introduced as the strongest blader in the world, he wins all his matches, and then he changes teams. Vault is also shown to be catching up to Free as they battle before he leaves the team and the two tie. Free ends up not winning the World Tournament due to Joshua's pride, and then Free ends up fighting Vault before he fights Shu in the last tournament of the season. It's a really strange choice, especially since Free doesn't lose to Vault, he just gives up. Is this conflict still going on? Will it continue into Season 3? This is a big problem I had with Season 1, and it continues in Season 2. I need to see more of Vault's journey. His plot is literally his Beyblade evolving, him not being able to use that evolution, and then somehow being able to use that evolution even if he struggled a few episodes to go with it. It's very redundant. I don't like how Vault is just strong sometimes. We see him getting new parts for his Beyblade, and we even see him training, but usually his power-ups just happen. His power works when it's needed for the plot, and that's too convenient, that's too cliche. We need more with it. Now it's time to talk about some of my favorite things from this season. I really enjoyed Free's training and Shu's journey. Those were my favorite episodes of this season. I liked how the side characters had their own plots going on. Anyone that joined Vault as a main member of the team had something going on. Sasha, Rickson, Chris, and Trad had their own plots going on. It was nice seeing everyone from Season 1 and Season 2 watching the final match go on. As I said in this video, the narrative for this season is much stronger than the narrative in Season 1. I'd still argue this even though I don't think Shu fits the big bad of the season. He feels like a character that's going through issues and just happened to be the last fight for Vault in this tournament. I feel like Shu didn't have to be evil for him to be the final big bad of the season. Free wasn't evil, and Shu just doesn't fit as the evil final person of the season. Free seems like he should have been the last challenger for Vault, and I'm glad that Vault got a win, but I don't know if Shu or Free were the people that should have lost in the process for Vault to become world champion. Anyways, a trailer for Season 3 is out, and Season 3 is currently airing. I might review it, I might not. Vault appears to be playing more of a support role or second main character in this season. I say that because there's a new main character. They did this pretty early. The Metal Saga had 3 seasons before they switched main characters. Granted, Season 3 was shorter, but they still focused on Jenga for 3 seasons. Vault is still active as a blader and still looks young, so I'm guessing he's in high school or something. The season doesn't look to be that far into the future. This might be a Beyblade Shogun Steel situation where the main characters work together, but the new main character will take the win at the end of the day, not Vault. And I hope Season 3 is good because Beyblade Burst has been a great series so far. To the person that requested these videos, I hope you enjoyed them. Sorry for getting to this request so late. Sorry for getting back to you so late. I hope the videos turned out to be of good quality for you. These took a while to write. I think these both took me a few hours to write, so hopefully you enjoyed them. It seems like the Beyblade Burst reviews do well, so that's part of the reason why I'm doing more. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like my content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook. The links are below. I'm Surmo11. See you next time, and peace out.